Alors, basically, Ignacio, can you introduce yourself, Ignacio? You're on mute.
I'm Ignacio. I'm Spanish from Madrid, and I studied engineering, and I am now doing the master in finance at IE, and I'm loving it. The process was a little bit tough, but I for sure recommend doing a master's because at the end of the day, now with the complicated job market, is the best thing you can do. For sure.
So basically, Marthe, when you're talking, mute yourself because otherwise there's an echo.
Yeah. Oh my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, mute yourself. Okay. So basically, because otherwise it makes an echo. Alors, so basically, so Ignacio, you're an IE student, so you're an engineer.
Yeah.
And like many engineers, you know that your background, your training is usually very good. And of course, engineers are the best at finance. We all know that. Okay. Myself, when I went to Sciences Po Paris, and I know that the best in engineering, in finance, were always engineers because they are good at numbers and they are good at handling, I don't know, numbers, and they have abstract minds, so they work very well. And then you want to work as an M&A analyst, let's say like that. You want to work as an M&A analyst possibly in a bulge bracket bank or in an IB bank, because that's where you learn the best. Okay, what has been the outcome so far? Ignacio.
Well, the outcome so far, right now the market for jobs is very complicated, but I've been in the last round of top around the world, both for investment banking in the M&A division and also in sales and trading that I applied. I have 2 or 3 rejections, and the rest I'm still in last round. So more or less in February, I will have the total outcome. But right now we are just trying to work as hard as we can and continue applying. That's always the way. It's a tough path, but we can make it.
Yeah, but by the way, I've always learned, no matter when people are applying to investment bank, it's always tough. They always say that there's always a crisis, always an issue, even when they recruit a lot. So don't worry, Ignacio. That's a very common ground. But basically, I'd like to say that Ignacio was my student last year. Okay, he applied to Bocconi and IE, and he wanted to study at IE because he wanted to be in Spain. Okay. Even though with his background, he could have been accepted to ESCP, to Imperial, to LSE, but he wanted to stay in Spain. That's why he has applied to IE and Bocconi, and I don't know why Bocconi, by the way. You will tell us. And he has decided to stay in Spain because let's say that Ignacio is a very intelligent guy, and I believe that he knows that no matter what, he will do well in life. Okay, and anyway, Ignacio, he has his way of approaching things in life, and you cannot change his opinion. You agree, Ignacio? You know what you want in life, and
exactly.
Very difficult to change your opinion, but you know what you want in life.
Exactly. That's the good thing about the master. In the master, we can all be very different. For example, as you described, I more or less know my path and I know what to do. But this is a year, as also you said that I'm an engineer in KI and we are good in quant, but in the masters, we are people from very different backgrounds. There are some people that have been working in insurance, some people in consulting, some people that have no experience, or me that I'm an engineer and work in real estate, for example. It depends, but the important thing is that if you want to do, if you know what you want to do, you can go for it after the master. And at the same time, if you don't have a very clear idea, the master approach in general in European business schools is very applied. And after the master, if you don't have clear views, you will for sure get them. That's a very important thing about the masters.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, now, so if you can mute yourself, Ignacio. Now, Marthe de la Ritz. Alors, Marthe, you in the situation in which Ignacio was last year, so you're going to finish IE, okay? And as you know, the IE BBA, it's a 4-year program. It's a 4-year program, if I'm right. Okay. Yeah. So why have you decided after IE to go for a master, not to work for 2-3 years, then go for an MBA, especially that we know that you have a project. You want to be an entrepreneur. Hopefully it will work. Okay. So why have you decided to study 1-2 more years after the bachelor's, Marthe?
Well, I felt so in terms of yeah, I'm in Marthe. I'm 22. I'm at IE. It's my 4th year right now. And I've decided to pursue the master right after this whole 4 years program, just because I felt like I'm in a marathon for studies, and I think I'll be more comfortable to join them
Mm.
to get a real job once I have all the knowledge I feel like I need, and I feel like I don't have it at the moment. And also, yeah, as you were saying, Ignacio, in Europe, there's really these big things about masters. It's really different than in the US. I feel like if I've done my studies in the US, I wouldn't be doing a master's, but yeah, Europe been doing
Yeah.
that way.
Well, basically, so Marthe is right, and since I know Marthe very, very well, and I know our siblings as well, I would say that there's an idea. First, you have a very ambitious project, okay, and you know that you need to work on it, and probably a master will be good, okay?
Yeah.
Because she wants to raise money to develop a company, okay? So she knows that after 4 years of experience, 4 years at IE with only internships, it's not convincing. So she needs to work on the business plan. She needs to work on investors. And you see, Marthe, I believe that it's a good thing to do because anyway, by the time you ready, it's going to take you 1 to 2 years. So at least you can use this 1 to 2 years to create your company and then study. Because imagine that, for instance, you have been to IE and it doesn't work. After 1 year, you find out that your system is not going to work. You look a bit like a loser. When you're going to look for a job, you say, okay, have you created a company? Yes. Why did it fail? And they're going to spend the entire interview on why did you fail as an entrepreneur, okay? Which is basically very, very difficult to introduce yourself as this. You remember one day when I was at Sciences Po, I had created a magazine and we had to close it because there was an issue with one of the shareholders, okay? Every time I had an interview, they were asking me why I closed my company. I stopped the interview. I said, what you said? You loser, you whatever. I was, okay. If I'd been at school, and then I went to America anyway, I wanted to have 1 year before going to America. And I knew that in France, if you have been a graduate from a top education institution, you have created a company, and after 1 year you stop, you be more than a Malian who came by a boat from the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, more than that. Okay, you consider like a Navy, like the worst loser that they can expect to see. So I said okay, and I went to America after that for my master's and my PhD because I felt more at ease there. So you have to do that in Europe. Okay, so basically you can use this 1 to 2 years to create and work on your company. Okay, anyway, you get the support if you're an ESCP, if you're an IE, if you're an IEC. So it's good to have this type of degree when you go to visit an investor and to say, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm still at school, you'll be perceived much more positively. Okay, for that. Okay, so she wants to be an entrepreneur. She knows it's not going to happen in 1 month, in 1 day. She needs credibility, and we have to see. I don't know what it is like Ignacio in Spain, but in France, some company will not take you if you don't have at least a master. Okay, imagine that it doesn't work the way she wants. If you have a bachelor, it's not enough. I know that in Spain, a bachelor from IE may be enough. In France, it's not enough. Okay, because you're going to compete against people who come from the Grand École system, and in the Grand École, you get a master. Okay, so if you graduate from ESSEC, from HEC, from EM Lyon, from Sciences Po, they give you a master. So you're like a bachelor or master. And I think that even some companies will not even take you. Okay, BNP, whatever, for investment job. If you have a bachelor, they will not take you, which is not the case. For instance, in the UK, you can start with Goldman Sachs as a bachelor in philosophy. Even okay, my son was at JP Morgan. He told me that he has some colleagues who have bachelors in anthropology. Okay, and they took them because they believe that they have the right level and they are motivated. And then also, in some cases, it's also important to have a degree from your own country. That's why, for instance, you, Ignacio, you study at IE, okay? Because you want to stay in Spain, at least start your career in Spain, okay? And Marthe is French, and probably it would be good for her to be a graduate from ESCP because she wants to have a French degree, okay? And you have to see that with French, since we have this Grande École, with INSEAD, with HEC, with whatever, if you compete, you cannot compete against another French if he's a Grande École graduate and you have a degree from a whatever country, okay? You always say, yeah, but you cannot be compared to HEC, to ESSEC. She'll be a bit an underdog. So that's why she has to get a French degree. So basically, what is interesting with Marthe is that we have all the reasons why you need to have a master's, because you need time for your project, because you want to work with companies that will take master graduates only, okay? And also because you're not a Spanish national, and you know that in your country, the degree doesn't have the same value. So Italian, you say, having a IE and Bocconi will help me.
But
The American,
I
yeah,
think
hello?
what you are saying is totally correct. As I told you, the market is super competitive. A master is always valuable. I feel more or less in a similar position as you, Mark. In my case, I also like to be honest, to be an entrepreneur and do my business. I did some in the past, but obviously there is always some complications. You need more financing, and also, as you said about the knowledge, there's always like a big step between the university and the real world. We always want to close that gap, no? In my case, it was partly by the business I had, and at the same time with internship, and for sure, the master is like that applied knowledge. So, following your point, I understand you perfectly. And what doctor was saying about the master at the end of the day will give you, when it's applied in a business school, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, to take out a company, a small company, you don't need, but if you want to make it grow, if you want to, for example, get financing to make it sustainable, it doesn't mean that it has to be a fucking unicorn, very small companies that is that level. But in order to get a bright future, and also the contact you receive, for example, I'm always thinking, like, with my friends talking, we're all with the same interests and patterns, and I'm always like wondering about what the projects we are thinking could be functional in a few years' time, and everything. And it's not only like the job market, but at the end of the day, a master is that cumulative process of the people, like all people from our ages with mentalities, same views, that want to get to the market, but at the same time, we are wanting to learn, wanting to have fun. And it's an experience that I cannot explain with words, because once you are there, like, you see that it's much more than all that has been sold. And in my case, I totally agree with Dr. Said. I didn't want to go to France because I speak zero French. I really dislike the cold. And London for me, I was willing to do the exception because obviously the center of the financial world and of consulting. But I mean, that was my case, and that's why I wanted to go to Spain. And it only more or less can defend myself with Italian, and it also has a brotherhood from the Jesuit that used to be my uni, like Ical and Esade, both are Jesuit, and that's why it's very valuable, Bocconi also in Spain. But what he said, France, you have incredible business schools. They are always like top in the rankings. As he said, HEC, INSEAD, all are very, very good. See, so you have that option, and you are right now not sure. Also, you are buying time in some way. Like, you need the time to do for your job, for the developing of the business, and at the same time, you want to learn, to grow. I mean, that's the real life. When you are doing the business and studying at the same time and meeting the people that will give you all the ideas, is super excellent. That's what my recommendation and my point of view of the master, what is in the end, no?
Okay. Now tell me, Marthe, which school have you selected?
I've selected, so I was thinking of applying to ESCP, which is French.
Yeah.
And then IE as a backup, but not for the master in finance, for the master in management, and IESE as a third class.
Yeah. Okay. So of course, what Marthe has to understand is that after she stays in Spain, she studied with IE and with IEC. Her profile will be branded Spaniard. Okay. Because our 2 degrees post high school diploma will be 2 Spanish degrees. And the advantage of ESCP is that ESCP has a campus in Quai de Molina, and at the same time, it's a 2-year program, and you can do the second year. I would advise her, by the way, to do the second year in France or in the UK. But at the same time, it's not an issue when you study with ESCP, because ESCP is very famous in France. So even if you said I did ESCP, but I did not study on the Paris campus, they don't really care, because the brand is very strong. Huh? Okay. Alors, basically, what Marthe does is that what many people do, they apply to their alma mater. So she's an IE graduate, and she knows that IE has bachelors, has masters, so she's going to apply for masters there. Okay. And then, of course, she's looking for programs in Spain because she loves the country, and of course, also a program that will outside Spain. Okay. So you have to see that, Ignacio, that we French, we love Spain, we love the quality of life in Spain. Once we have spent time in your country, it's very difficult for us to come back to France, where the quality of life is not the same. Okay, I'm sorry to say that for my country. Well, of course, there's nothing better than France, but I agree that the quality of life is better. And given the political situation in France that is far from being good, I would say that you feel safer and you feel better in Spain for sure. Huh? Nowadays, and it's also a great country to start your life because there's a one issue with real estate in Paris where it is pretty expensive. Alors, basically, you, Marthe, why have you picked up these programs? Why ESCP, IAC, IE? Can you tell me?
Because they're all masters in management, and yeah, in the end, if I'm gonna have my own company, it's all gonna be about managing my own company. So that's why I'm most attracted to the master in management.
Okay, so basically, she has picked up this program for two reasons. One, she needs a master. Second of all, because they are very, very well reputed, and also you have to see that another advantage of this program is that they have their own entry tests. IAC has its in-house tests. You can apply with the GMAT, but you can also apply without the GMAT. The SCP has a test called SHL, which is not an in-house, but they use it as an in-house test. And IE has also its own test called the IE GAT. You didn't take it to Ignacio because you had the GMAT, but you can also take the IE test, which is branded IE because it's called the IE entrance test. Okay, so basically, what I want to say is that if you're an IE student, you can get a top school with the GMAT or without the GMAT. So what are the other schools that you can apply to without the GMAT? So you have in Spain IE, ESADE, IAC because they have their own tests. ESCP because they have also their own tests. Some schools do not ask for the GMAT at all, like Imperial. Okay. For the good one, that's it. Of course, you can also go to 1 week. So I would say that if you're an IE student and you want to stay, you can do like this. Alors, imagine that you're an IE student and you want to do the master in finance. Ultimately, what you can do is that you can do 1 year. You can have the 1 year MIM, and then you can switch to the master in finance, and then they don't ask you for the GMAT in that case. Okay, so but it will take you. So you have an MIM MIF, and you get the MIM MIF in 18 months. Okay, so that's another option. But of course, if you want to go for the MIF, it's better to take the GMAT because paying an MIM for 1 year, it's a bit expensive. Take a private coach, prepare the GMAT, and go for it. Ignacio.
Yeah.
Okay. Alors, Ignacio, what is there's something else that we have not mentioned, but that we have to mention. Okay. And sorry, I've said many positive things about Spain, but maybe there's a negative one, which is the job market and salaries plus masters. Don't you think that one of the other reasons that you can have when you Portuguese, Italian, Greek, you come from Eastern Europe or from Italy, that also in some businesses it's better to work outside Spain, okay, because the market is more dynamic and salaries are higher, okay, and you can understand that some people decide to get a degree outside Spain, outside IE, because they will make simply more money and the career prospects are better. What do you think of that? Is it a valid reason?
I agree with you. Salaries in France are higher to start with. Also, I think salaries in London are higher, and in countries like the Netherlands, in the Benelux, in Luxembourg, they are higher. Switzerland, obviously, is always a good example. Germany, well, Germany also, yeah. The thing is, for example, in Italy, generally earn more or less the same as Spain. Life there is more expensive. Yeah, like they are very similar to us. They are the country that more resembles in Europe, but there are some differences. In your case, I mean, your friends, I have like that you love my country, so that's nice, but I don't know how your Spanish is. That's after 4 years. I know in IE everything is in English. Generally, to obtain a job in Italy, for example, I was in Milano 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to the top best banker in Europe, from Goldman in Milan. And I was talking to him, and because we know he's like the uncle of one of my friends, and we had a good dinner, and he said, if you could speak Italian, I would hire you. But I don't have a good Italian. So obviously it was impossible for me. And that's why I focused in the Spanish market, because at the same time, people that come from Italy or what Hubert said from Eastern Europe cannot arrive here. But yeah, being salary is higher. I mean, if you want to be an entrepreneur, having the money is always good. I think there's not such a big difference between, for example, in consulting, like BCG, McKinsey, all these companies pay more or less the same in whole Europe, with the exception of Switzerland, Germany, and the Benelux. So it already depends. I don't know what position or job you want to obtain after the master. I mean, I can certainly say something related to business development or something related to consulting that can give you that approach. Obviously, before that, you have to learn all the case method and all the practices that will teach you perfectly. Let me be honest. But to get that jobs, the master is very, very well applied, or if not, study, and it's complicated sometimes because when you are competing against people that have the master, generally they will prefer the ones in the master. Yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing is that of course when you study somewhere, you build your credibility and your network in the country. Alors, imagine that they want you to speak Italian. Anyway, 1 year in Italy may not be enough to make you fluent in Italian. Maybe yes, maybe not. But at the same time, if you know that you're going to study at Bocconi, that's something that, by the way, I advise you to do. If you know that you're going to study somewhere, imagine you're French, you're going to study at WHU or ASMT in Germany. Okay. Maybe you say I'm going to learn German 6 months before going there. When I'm there, I'm going to improve my German so that I can maybe get a job in Germany. Okay. So basically, if you get a job, if you study in a country different from yours, study there and learn the language so that you can be on. You have been accepted to Bocconi. You have not decided to go there. So there was no reason for you to become fluent in Italian. Okay, but that's something that I advise you to do. So, for instance, Marthe, she's quite good. She's quite fluent now in Spanish. That's why she has no problem. If she wants to stay there, she can say that because she mastered the language. So you have to see if you want to stay in a country, make sure that you get the best degree from the country, which is what you get with IE Master in Finance. You speak the language and you develop your network. Because of course, having a network and having a good degree is not enough. Okay. For instance, I have Indian students who study at HEC. They won't be able to stay in France because even though they have a great degree, they have a degree from HEC, the fact that they don't speak the language is an issue. So make an extra effort. Okay. What else?
Plant a job, you need always like two things. One is the experience, what you said, or maybe the knowledge that you can obtain from the master. At the same time, is the fitting. Fitting in the office can be obviously, as I can see, you have a great fluency with English, you like in IE, obviously. So maybe you have also fluency for Spanish. If you have all of these and you understand how life is here, fitting would be easier for you. At the same time, you are also friends, so the fitting in France would also be very good for you. So I think that whatever decision you took between IE and ESCP that you told me, or ESSEC, sorry, I can't remember right now, is very good. And the main program should be, I think also you have the other double degrees that more or less depends on what you want to do afterwards, as I told you. But I think the MIM is the perfect approach. In this case, Dr. Advice, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What do you want to say, Marthe? What do you want to say? You want to say something?
Oh, that's great. It's great advices from Ignacio, and Absolutely agree with him. And on the question about, I mean, you're ready if you want to stay in the country after like getting the best of the country you're in is first of all getting the best diploma you can get, the best degree you can get there, and then find a great job to.
Okay, and also, so now what I want to say, Marthe, is that can be a very good strategy if you want one day to come back. For instance, imagine that Marthe wants to come back. Imagine she doesn't want to, because she wants to be an entrepreneur, and in her field she has to be back in France. But imagine that you want to go back to your country. Imagine that you, Ignacio, you have decided to go to Bocconi, you become fluent in Italian, you work for Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan in Milan. Okay. Now, then you have to see that after some time, your degree and your profile has a value as well in your home country. If you say, for instance, that, but you need to have, then you need to spend time and you need to achieve. But imagine that you become a partner, you have a very high position at Goldman Sachs in Italy, and you can expect to have an incredible job back in Spain. So basically, I would say that either you do like Marthe, you said, I learn Spanish, English, I show that I'm autonomous, that I'm international, I go back to France. Or she could say, I'm going to work, I don't know, in a media agency or in marketing in Spain for some time. And I know that at some stage, my profile as a French person who has spent, I don't know, 10 years in Spain has a lot of value in my country. Because they will look for people who have a real double country exposure. Okay. But you have to see that. So if you want, it's a long-term plan. Okay. Well, otherwise you don't do it. Alors, basically, about the process. Now, what is it to apply for a master? Can you tell us the different process, the test, the application, the interview, the financing as well?
Yeah, for sure. Firstly, what you have to do is more or less get a list, okay, of all the masters you are interested in, the programs, different units, and the deadlines. That is always very important. And if I were you, I would write, once you have created your account and everything in each unit, write down in an Excel sheet or in a Word how you're advancing and what questions they are asking you, the essays. Obviously, with that, doctor will give you a lot of help. In my case, my essays were good, they became perfect. And all you need some levels, like make it like the good job they do here is that at the same time, it's like honest from you because they really want to get to know from your story and make that into paper. And when you have the interviews, you just have to be yourself, like not fake who you are, be who you are with the essays you have and with your background. That's okay. Like universities will like this. Obviously, after doing these essays, you have to back it off with your GMAT grade or with your exams or with everything. To have a strong application is not only like the essays and everything, you need also the GMAT and also the interviews. So it's a process. And I mean, I can see that you went to IE, you know languages. I will use that as a language for sure because what he said, being multilingual and having been living in a lot of different countries will obviously be very worth it for consulting and also for business because you can be working in multinational teams or in multinational projects. And if I were you, I would use that as leverage and say, I have no fear in moving to other countries or in starting new projects, as you have already told us. And that's always like the process. Try to get the best of you in both the essays. Obviously, you will have to work hard for the GMATs and then do well in the interviews. And the recommendation will be that, be yourself.
Okay, so basically, I would say that, so what is the advantage of being an IE BBA student? And so why have we decided to organize a seminar for them? I would say that Celia, can you also ask Aman to join? Hello? Celia? Alors, basically, yeah, I have to do everything. Alors, basically, I would say that what are the advantages? Why have we decided to organize a seminar for IE students? Basically, I didn't know much about IE. I knew about their MBAs. Okay, well, so because I have a lot of Indian students who apply for the MBA, so like I would say like 3-4 years ago, I knew about IE MBAs. Okay, and I would send some students to the IE MBAs. And then what happened is that since now we work closely with Spain, I got many students from IE, and I've noticed that they get very good schools. Because you know IE, Marthe, as an agreement with ESSEC. You mean that if you're an IE BBA and you get a 600, 620 GMAT, you get ESSEC. Okay. And I've noticed that the school is very well recognized. So what is recognized at IE? Now, first of all, IE has a lot of partnership with many schools. For instance, I'm currently working with a student who has completed the MBA and he has the possibility to do a second MBA with Yale or MIT. So IE has two partnership, very good recognition. Okay. Second of all, so that's for the international exposure, for the recognition. Second of all, they know that as an IE student, you're very international. So you speak Spanish, you speak English, and you have been surrounded by 40 different nationalities. That's your case, probably, Marthe. And also that you have the right mindset, meaning going to school, being a team player, working with people from different nationalities, working on projects. So basically, the way you taught in your BBA program will be exactly the way you taught in your master program. For instance, I'm sure that for you, Ignacio, the teaching at IE is very different from the teaching at ICADE. Okay, even though you didn't have any time to adapt, but when you're an IE student, you have no time to adapt to HEC, to LBS, to Duke, to Bocconi, because it is exactly the same approach. Okay, that's why as an IE student, so basically, where do my IE students go? Those who don't get the GMAT, they get to ESCP. Okay, those who get the GMAT, if they have a low GMAT like 600, 620, they go to ESSEC. Okay, and those who have very good GMAT, but they go to LBS, HEC, in school. Okay. I will have another seminar, by the way, with a student who has been accepted to HEC, another one who has been accepted to ESCP, so that they see what it is. Okay. You, Marthe, what it is you're currently applying. So what it is to apply when you're IE BBA student.
What it is to apply when you're a BBA student? I mean, it's very it's not putting you, I'm not sure how to phrase it, but since I use a very renowned school, it automatically shows that when you're in the BBA and in your 4th year and graduating, it shows that you're able to learn things, apply them, and execute them in your later on professional life. So I feel like being in IE while applying to masters is definitely like a value added into getting into the place you would like. But I would say that for any good business school throughout Europe.
Okay, yeah, so that's the thing. So Marthe is currently applying. So basically, to apply, she had to select schools. We'll go to visit IEC probably next Monday. She will come with me. We'll have lunch at IEC for next Monday if you're there. Then she has to prepare the application. That's what she's doing now. Okay, but even though now she's a bit busy, okay, with her exams, and then she will apply and prepare tests. Okay, so basically, someone like her, in November she prepared the application. In December she paused because she has exams at Christmas, and then after once she's done with exams, etc., Christmas, she will revamp. She will send her application. And she will prepare the exam, so the IESC exam, the SCP exam, IE, I don't know if they ask you for an exam when I graduate, etc. So basically, you have to see that there's a process, and this process can also sometimes be stopped. Marthe,
Yeah.
You can be stopped because suddenly you have exams or whatever. So that's why you have to plan long in advance.
Yeah.
Ignacio, you have been successful. So what piece of advice would you give to IE applicants? To someone who has a bachelor from Spain and wants to study at IE or elsewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing, more or less the same I was saying, it's very important to show how you are so honest in your essays, to have good, strong essays, and also do well in the interviews. And at the same time, you have to back it up with your team. Obviously, it's good to know you as a people. They will want to learn what is your value when you go to business school. But if you don't have nothing to back it up, so it's being strong in all. Maybe you don't have the best leadership, or you don't have maybe the best degree as physics or engineering or whatever. At the end, is showing what your leverage is and be concise on what is your focus. And then in the interviews, just be yourself. That is for sure my recommendation. And for example, the same happened to me. When I was doing all the application process, Dr. Hubert might remember, I went to Argentina. I did traveling across South America. So sometimes it's really good to be prepared to have your Excels, have all the recordings or what part of the interview are you already? You have already sent the essays. When is the deadline of some application or all? And I would also recommend very highly going to events. For example, I went to a meeting in a hotel for LBS in Madrid, and I went for another meeting for IE. They invited me for to have lunch in a very nice place, and when they see that you are a normal guy or a regular woman, and you are talkative, you want to do business in the future, they are very interested. Sometimes they are also built for foreigners, and you can have them online. And that's for me the best thing you can do. So make sure they know who is applying to their programs.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Alors, basically, Marthe, what other piece of advice? Alors, Marthe, she knows that very well because I took care of Luc, I took care of Louise, I'm taking care of Madeleine, you. So you have already two, one brother and one sister. So your sister, she got accepted to ESSEC and INSEAD, your brother to LBS. So when you talk to them, what do they tell you? How to optimize the admission process?
Well, it's kind of the same advice as Ignacio. Just be yourself. Most important one. Second of all, go to events, socialize with people, meet them, ask them for their experience. What do they think? What was good? What was bad? And then obviously when it comes to like doing, once having made the choice, it's really about tracking. The Excel file is a great tip, Ignacio. And yeah, just like keeping track of where are you for which university, what part of the process have I done, what do I need to do left. So yeah, it's kind of the same advices. And yeah, first and foremost, just choosing a master's that is going to apply most to your career development and help you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So basically, so we say that now, if you're an IE BBA student, you have to prepare the GMAT. Now, if you start now, you cannot send your application probably before March. Okay, because you cannot start now. Then there's Christmas coming, so you need at least 2 to 3 months before applying. So you're going to apply late. But what else? Unless you decide to apply for masters that have no GMAT, so IE, EZD, IEC, ESCP, Warwick, Imperial. There's a lot of choice. Okay, and that's where we are. Okay. Anything you want to say, Ignacio? Okay.
Whatever decision you have in the end is always to have a good GMAT. That is one thing you have learned. It opens you like more doors in the future. And also at the same time, I will totally subscribe what Marthe said. Choose the program that more fits your future, what you want to do. A master opens a lot of doors at the end of the day. So see yourself in 5 years, picture yourself in 5 years. And after that view, choose the program you like the most.
Exactly. Okay. Now, basically, it's true. It's another thing that I want to say. The better prepared you are, the more options you have. Okay. The more options you have, the better. Okay. And also, maybe for scholarships, you can help. Don't forget that some schools give scholarship easily. For instance, INSEAD, MIM, you get 10,000 euro scholarship quite easily. Now, INSEAD, MIM is a bit expensive, but they give you scholarships. Okay. And of course, it gives you the choice. Okay. So I would say that, of course, with Marthe, we have decided that we will not take the GMAT for many reasons. Okay. Ignacio, you have decided to take the GMAT. It allowed you to apply to Masters in Finance. Of course, the more you do, the better. So it's true that the GMAT or the GRE are also essential. For instance, you, Marthe, your brother and your sister, Luc and Louise, took the GMAT, and it opened them many doors. Okay. But sometimes it's not possible. There's a lack of time. Target programs, anyway, for instance, in the case of Marthe, she doesn't need the GMAT because she wants to apply fast. And so on of all, she's applying to schools that do not ask for the GMAT anyway. Okay. But usually step one, that's the way we met, and you and I, Ignacio, step one is the GMAT. Okay. So thank you very much. We'll have an opportunity. I will be with you next Saturday. Okay. Maybe you can have a drink with you, Ignacio, and you, same thing to you, Marthe. Have a good day. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.